I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Clerk Records, please call the roll. Ms. Klein? Present. Mr. Elswick?
Here.
Mr. Fagan?
Here.
Mrs. Golden? Here. Mrs. Weber?
Here, we have a quorum. If I please have a resolution to approve the agenda for this evening's meeting of a special board. I move that we approve this evening's agenda. Thank you. Can I have a second?
Second. Third.
Thank you. Ms. Cartwright, could you take the vote?
Ms. Klein?
Yes.
Mr. Fagan?
Yes.
Mr. Elswick?
Yes.
Thank you. Mrs. Golden? Yes. Mrs. Weber?
Yes. That passes. Superintendent Jefferson, we have you at,
Madam President, members of the board, we're going to get started on a presentation this evening, and you see all of our administrators are here as well. So we have a number of administrators throughout the district that is here tonight. And so I just want to go over a few things, but our administrators will be a part of any questions that you may have, as well as any other comments concerning something that is very important to the future of our district. Last week, our administrative team presented to you the strategic plan. And up behind, sitting in the back, are our three strategic goals, and you see succeed, engage, and renew. And we had members of the DLT, as well as our administrators and members throughout our staff that was part of that strategic plan. And one of those areas, and the area that Mr. Burris and I serve on, and Mrs. Courtwright, is, of course, the Renew Committee, as well as Mr. Wilczek is on that committee as well. So if you look at the Renew, one of the things that we mentioned was the fact that we wanted this strategic plan to be a live document. And we did not want a document that we spent how much time on, and that it was not used at all. So tonight, we're going to put that plan in place as a presentation and then come back to you in February for your board approval to implement. But I'd just like to read to you what is the strategic plan goal, which is to ensure that expenditures target instructional improvement, invest in highly effective, diverse staff, and 21st century facilities. And so as we look at this proposed grade configuration, and you look at the strategic plan of Renew, one of the areas, and I don't know if you have that up there yet, is the process and data collection. And in this process and data collection, Mr. McKenzie is here. And I think about 3 years ago, we did an engineering project. I was part of the engineering project with the company that he was with called Dynamic. And we went through all of our buildings at that time to take a look at and did an engineering study, and then we presented that report to the Board of Education that year. From that, facilities program study has been done as well to look at all of our facilities, and as you well know, you received a facility update from Mr. Booth last week. And then in 2020, an enrollment study was done by a company and presentation given to the board by Tracy Healy from Future Think on just exactly our enrollment for the district and where we were going for the future. So let's take a look at renew and the strategic plan. What is the main goal? Is to increase efficiency in the building capacity. And in order to increase that building capacity, we have to look at how can we provide that grade configuration and the fact that there will be buildings that we have that are older buildings in our district. The financial amount of money that we are spending in these buildings and in terms of, and including the staffing of those buildings. We need 21st century buildings. The last building that was built in our district is now 18 years old in our district. It was opened in 2004. And to ensure that these facilities plan meet our needs, and it's based on data. And so we have a lot of data that's been presented to the board, presented in terms of the engineering study, presented by Future Think, and presented by other companies that have given us a good idea of where we need to go with this. So let's look at configuration. Currently, we have 9 schools, and our proposal is to go to 8. You will see, when you look at those 8 schools, one of those schools is Mansfield Middle School. You'll see a 7-8 with an immersion wing. We will explain later. Senior high, grades 9-12. You'll see Malabar Intermediate will be a 3-6. Prospect K2 and Sherman will be pre-K to grade 2. Springfield STEM K6. Spanish Immersion will be K6 at their building, at their particular physical building, and then of course the Tiger Digital Academy K-12. So let's go to Mansfield Middle School. Mansfield Middle School is, our proposal is to bring Spanish Immersion 7-8 to the middle school and place it in a wing in the middle school section and maintain the language immersion program. What's the benefit of this? It provides those Spanish immersion students opportunities that they do not currently have at Brinker Hall right now. The ability to be in certain programs. Logistically, we have problems with transportation for extracurricular. It allows them to be able to be part of many academic, band, choir, and other programs in the building. It will use the available space in the district's newest building. And once again, we are trying to help our programs grow. And it continues to service all attendance area students in grades 7 and 8. So once again, how can we grow Spanish immersion? We need to move the 7 and 8 out of Spanish immersion to the middle school. Still keep it as part of the Spanish immersion program. So we'll keep the immersion language with that, but provide more opportunities for students. Malabar Intermediate will be a 3-6 building. Move grades 3 from attendance area schools, and you have 3 of them, Prospect, Sherman, and Woodland, to Malabar. This will help existing space that has been updated We have the windows, roofing, paint, doors, security cameras, and we have now a vestibule at Malabar Intermediate, as well as HVAC. Malabar will continue to service grades 4 through 6. It provides more building capacity for the building as a 3-6 building. Next one, Spanish Immersion. We'll move from Brinkerhoff to Woodland. And at that building, it will be K6. It is a better facility than what they are currently at right now. The Woodland move is a better facility for them than where they are currently at right now. Newer windows, roof, and landscaping. And I'm not trying to laugh at this. We can cool the building much more easily and eliminate the need for the expenditures that we are paying right now, trying to cool a building that really we cannot afford and cannot really do the cost to cool it the way it should be done. Prospect becomes one of our 2 attendance area primary schools. It will continue to serve K2 students, and it will serve K2 students from Woodland. Woodland Elementary, K2 will go to Prospect. It will maintain as an attendance area primary school on the south side of town. Uses existing space that can be cooled in warm months. And the updates include new windows, doors, and new boilers. Sherman Elementary will become a pre-K through grade 2. It becomes one of 2 attendance area primary schools. It will also serve all pre-K students. Our pre-K program with Mr. Burris will be more than glad to answer any questions and talk to you tonight. Our pre-K program is growing, but it cannot grow in the existing space that it's in right now. Currently, at Spring Mill STEM, you have 2 programs growing, and they can't grow anymore collectively. So our pre-K program needs additional space. It's a 5-star program. So we need to treat it as a 5-star program. So we use existing space that's been updated, new windows, roofing, have a secure vestibule. It maintains an attendance area primary school on the north side of town, and it allows the pre-K to grow and feed our primary schools. Spring Mill STEM. Spring Mill STEM currently is a K5 building, but next fall we want it to be a K6, approved by the ODE STEM Committee to expand to serve students in grade K6. That program is growing at Spring Mill STEM, but once again, they need more room. And we need to add a grade 6. Currently, they also have secure vestibules at Spring Mill STEM. HVAC is going in there and should be completed hopefully by the end of next month. Windows, paint, flooring, tile, doors, all that has been done to upgrade the building, and it allows the STEM program to grow and fully access the galleries. Brinkerhoff building will be taken offline. This helped reduce operating expenditures. Takes a building offline that would need significant investment to make needed updates. Primary school attendance boundaries. Mr. Rizzo, can you discuss that?
Yeah, certainly. Currently, in our district, we maintain 3 attendance area boundaries for the primary schools, which are K-3. So the blue is Sherman, green is Woodland, and red is Prospect. In addition to that, we still have our magnet schools. In the proposal, we would go to 2 K-2 attendance area boundaries. The Sherman boundary would stay the same. As you can see, the Woodland boundary is merged with Prospect, and is also red. And so, in doing so, we again are proposing that this boundary stay the same, and that the primary for K-2 on the south side would be Prospect.
So we end up having basically 3 magnet schools, Spanish Immersion, K-6, with 7 and 8 at the middle school, still being an immersion program. Spring Mill STEM will be K-6, and the TBA, Tiger Digital Academy, as a K-12. Okay. Senior high will continue to serve all attendance area students in grades 9 through 12. The Tiger Digital Academy will continue to provide an online option for interested K-12 students and families, and they share its space at Hedges with the Hedges Success Program. So what do we have? We have a situation where we have aging buildings in our district. Our students, our staff, and our families, we need to provide and start preparing to give them the best facilities that we can. So this is the first step in the renewed process. And we say we want a living document of the strategic plan, and we are proposing to you as a board to look, and we will provide for our community and our stakeholders an opportunity to ask questions and to have any other comments that they would like on this plan. So we are providing Monday, starting next week. We will have that available in this room, in the boardroom, and any community member or stakeholder who would like to meet with our administrative team to discuss this plan that is being presented. We will have that for the next 3 Mondays, all the way up through February the 14th, from 8 to 9 a.m. If for some odd reason we have families that cannot make that time, they can then contact us here at the board, and if they need that time to be in the evening after 5 o'clock, then I will make sure that we have somebody around to address that as well. However, we asked 3 years ago, as Mr. Strong and I were sitting on the stage at our convocation in August of 2019, and we asked, what is our educational plan for the district? We asked the board, we asked asked the staff, and we asked the administrators, what is our educational plan? COVID came and put us on a holding pattern for a year or so as we try to navigate COVID. But here we are now, and we want a living document. So we are proposing this as a document. And so with that, I'd like to just see what our building administrators and our directors, are there any questions that need to be asked to any of our people? We have Jonathan here for pre-K, Stephen for all academics. You have Mr. Mr. Wilczek for personnel. Mrs. Courtwright is sitting over here for financial. We have all of our building principals that are going to be affected by this move here. We have Andrea Moyer, who in the buildings, she lives in our buildings. Okay, who lives in our buildings. Okay, so with that, I'd like to see whether there are any questions.
Dan, all these moves, is Bob going to have enough help to, in the summer, move everybody, or, I mean, are you going to make sure that there's ample?
It's so funny that you said that. We had a meeting with Bob and Jonathan, and we had a number of other people. He's going to need another crew for the summer.
Yeah.
He's working on that right now.
That's a lot of people
Right,
moving
he's working
around.
on that right now.
And then the other question is, the 7th and 8th grade Spanish immersion students at the middle school, who will serve as their principal? Will that be Jason and Ms. Schaffner, or will the Spanish immersion principal be involved in that? How will that?
Spanish immersion principal will be the principal.
Okay.
Mr. Bennett, do you have anything to that?
Just to say that, I will be the head of the Spanish immersion program, K through 8. I will be serving as the principal as far as the curriculum, evaluating teachers, and then any kind of, discipline, day-to-day stuff, I will leave to Mr. Douglas and Ms. Schaffner as the middle school principals. They would be handling those day-to-day specifics.
Let's talk a little bit before Mr. McKenzie come up here. Let's talk about a little bit of pre-K here. I'd like for Mr. Burris to address some information on pre-K.
Sure. Are there any questions that I can answer about the proposal?
When we have all of this together, how many students in pre-K could we possibly have?
Yeah, we're sitting at 200 right now, and we would like to get up to 240.
Okay.
This poses us, doesn't give us unlimited space, but it gives us more space than we have to grow. And I anticipate very strongly that it will.
Did I hear correctly that we currently have a waiting list on the pre-K?
We do. There's a lot of complicated factors in pre-K in terms of ratios and who we can and cannot serve. And part of the issue is we have what we call typically developing children who do not have disabilities, who are just out in the community looking for a pre-K center. Until we have more classrooms, we cannot serve them. So that's where our waiting list exists. I'll also tell you, Mr. Fagan, that the COVID hit everybody, but it hit pre-K extremely hard. And part of that is because parents have a little bit more choice in the pre-K arena, and it definitely hit us pretty hard. But at this point, as we stand today, we are at the level that we were pre-COVID with the waiting list.
How many's in our waiting list?
I think it's about 20, but I prefer that you not quote me on that.
His pre-COVID numbers were 197, and currently he's at 200. So he's 3 over and has been brought back up to capacity.
And we still have those students with disabilities that came from New Hope. Is that right?
Well, actually, so the short answer is yes. A couple of years ago, I lose track of time, we took all of the New Hope, basically the entire school that was over there, and brought them to us.
Right.
Not just the students, but the staff, which was wonderful for us. And once again, with this plan, I would project we could potentially need 2 more teachers.
I would like for Mr. Rizzo to discuss just the advantages of this grade configuration.
I mean, overall, as you read in the strategic plan, and as we have collected data throughout the process, we have older buildings, as Mr. Jefferson has said. We have limited funds, so we cannot bring all of our buildings up to the, where we would like them to have. We have been able to leverage district funds, in addition to some of the monies that have come through COVID relief, and Mr. Booth continues to do that. So as you see there's a lot of red on the left-hand side. We've made some progress in meeting some of those areas, especially HVAC and targeted buildings. But as we dig a little deeper, it's not just about being able to bring all the buildings up to speed. Are they handicap accessible? Are they meeting our program needs? Meaning classroom teachers have adequate space, they have storage space, they have collaborative space. Are we providing adequate space for labs, digital literacy, student support? So as you dig a little bit deeper and you look at classroom size, age of buildings, cost, the answer is, as Mr. Jefferson said, we want to do better. In our strategic plan, we're going to provide our students and families 21st century. In addition, we have some excess space. We have opened some schools to maintain and attract families, the Spanish Immersion School, followed by the STEM school, the only designated STEM school in the area, and now our online school. So we've kind of distributed students a little bit differently, creating excess space. So we have it, but as we said, it's not all good space. So under the, taking a step forward, this grade configuration allows us to maximize, not to its fullest extent, but to a better extent possible, some of our better spaces. So we, in distributing students with the TDA, we have extra space at the middle school. So in keeping 7 and 8 unified and extending access to some programs, it was very logical, at least as we looked at that, to make that space available to Spanish Immersion. And so with 7 and 8 there, we can maintain the Immersion program, and we can provide access to the high school credit courses more easily without transportation. Those teachers might be able to, with time, benefit other students in the building, which we think is a positive. And in addition, we have college CCP, College Credit Plus courses available, as well as CTE courses available, to students who are ready. So we see that as potential. Another building that we've invested in, as Mr. Jefferson and Mr. Booth said, is Malabar. There is space in Malabar. The staff has been together a while. Families appreciate the work that's been done there. We also have the partnership with the 3rd Street Clinic, so we can leverage that building, its staff, and its resources for 3rd grade students. We kind of then unify students together in that grade band as part of the 3rd grade reading guarantee. And so it will allow some options there. As we look at their configuration in terms of teaming, and as we consider that, allows teachers to focus time in their teams on less subjects, I think, and do some more teaming. So that is a benefit that I see in that building. And then finally, as we look at our pre-K to 2 programs, we want to grow those opportunities for pre-K. We want to be able to grow STEM, and right now, there's not enough space to grow pre-K, grow STEM, and to fully utilize the galleries that the district is invested in. So we want to honor our commitment to both programs, putting pre-K at Sherman, where we've also invested money. Their space is handicap accessible, and it will allow us to kind of feed both primary schools. And then finally, trying to maintain, at this point, an attendance school in both sides of the district. Some money has been put into Prospect. It still will benefit some improvements that Mr. Booth has identified, but we can kind of focus our programs then and allow the principals to collaborate and kind of keep the staff together as we implement the primary curriculum. And as we look at the lower level, really focus in on literacy for those kids. And having pre-K in the kindergarten in one of the largest elementaries, we can kind of help facilitate some more collaboration with teachers.
If I could just add one piece of bold, add one thing, that last point, transition in the pre-K world is a very big undertaking. It's a very big deal. So the opportunity for our pre-K teachers and our kinder teachers to operate under a principal and a coordinator and working together on that front was something that we really targeted in as an opportunity. I'm sorry, Mr. Prince.
That's fine. That's why we all are here. And we want to share out to the board that the work, and I like to just share with you, the work that the building principals, all of the directors, and all of our other people that have been involved in this process has been unlimited. We have had Deb Rickard, Director of Transportation, involved. We have had Norman Moran, Director of Food Services, and of course, Mr. Booth, who was here last week. We've been working on what is best for our students, what is best for our staff, and what is best for our school community as we move forward. Are we there where we want to get there as of yet? No, this is the first phase. This is the first phase of it. Eventually, we are going to have to come back to the board and come back to our school community and mention the fact we need to build a new facility. We have Brad Strong, who's been working hand in hand with Mr. Wilczek on the process that's going to have to go through this movement. And we want to make sure that we honor the collective bargaining agreement that has been negotiated between the MSCA and the board. So Mr. Strong and Mr. Wilczek, I'd like to see if you can say if you have any words.
Thanks, Dan. I think the biggest thing is that when you have a building closure, you think we're going to lose jobs. We are not losing jobs. No one is losing a job.
Will you repeat that again, please?
No one is losing a job. So that's very clear. We met with the Woodland staff this afternoon and again reiterated that to them. We have worked hand in hand with Mr. Strong and the MSEA to understand how this is going to function. So we have that process outlined in the negotiated agreement, and staff will have a bidding process to go through those who are affected in the move. And we will rebid those areas, and they have an opportunity to choose the position they are in or move to another one. We will list those positions as they are open, and then once this is all approved, we'll start that process and we'll let everybody know where we're going to move. But again, as we all want to know, no one is losing their jobs, and we need everybody that we have on staff. And we will have openings, and we have openings right now that we're going to try to fill for next year. So again, we have worked with Mr. Strong and the union, and we know the process. It's up to the board to understand when you vote on this, that we will move quickly and swiftly to make sure it's all put together. Every administrator will take a look at it and have their eyes on it, and they'll know what's open. We'll bring staff in by seniority. They will choose their position. They will get their notice of assignment for next year, and then we move forward.
And finally, I would like to see if Andrea Moyer who carries multiple titles in our district, beyond Director of School Improvement, but school safety and so forth. So if you just comment on how this, is there any effect on this movement in terms of the areas that you work? Or is there?
Well, when we were at Woodland today, one of the teachers was concerned about the third grade going up with the fourth and fifth and sixth grade. And Mr. Hager and I have worked it out. They'll be separate from the sixth graders. They'll be in the same hall as the fourth graders. It's sort of like the transition we did many years ago when we brought the fourth graders up there. So, as I told that staff after a week, the kids loved it. It's the parents that we have to make sure that we have orientations with and time to come through and meet the teacher and tour the school. So we'll make sure we do all that this summer. But otherwise, all our building administrators have worked hard. They've, been very willing to come to the meeting like tonight and share their ideas. So hopefully, once you vote upon it, we can get moving on it and get rolling.
I'd like to say I'm proud of all of you for working this through. It's not something that's brand new to any of us. I mean, anybody who's been in the district can see how we've ebbed and flowed and how we've needed to make adjustments, and I commend all of you for coming together to come up with a sensible plan and a good timeline to give people time to adjust. And, to Ms. Moyer's point, if you have more than 2 children in your family, you have those grade bands in your household. So it's really not that hard to imagine these children moving to the next grade level as far as the people who are in the building with them. So I'm glad that we are giving the community an opportunity to talk to you and hear the ideas and talk about the opportunities. I'm most hopeful and really looking forward to the opportunities that not just our students but our staff will also have by making this adjustment, because it just makes more sense and we can maximize our tax dollars and not stretch them so far. So I'm looking forward to this opportunity for our district. I think it's a really good thing. Thank you.
I just want to add, Dan, one of the things that we're going to make sure that we honor are the staff that are currently at Woodland. And Bethany and I have talked about things that we're going to do towards the end of that era. We're not closing that building, but we're ending that elementary building. And so we're going to celebrate that building. We're going to close it out in style, and then we're going to welcome Spanish Immersion if this plan goes through. So just so you know that we have had those discussions and that we do want to honor the staff that are in that building. And some of the staff have been there quite a long time. And it will be emotional, but this is all for a bigger cause as we're looking down the road and the things that we want to accomplish down the road. So this is just a big piece in the puzzle that we got to get done.
Before we bring Mr. McKenzie up here to go to his presentation, do we have any other administrator who needs to address anything here before Mr. McKenzie comes up?
Stan, I have a question. I have a question for Mr. Douglas. We're bringing in a whole new wing into your school. And as we just heard, is that you and your assistants will be taking on the responsibility of these additional students for discipline. How do you feel about that?
I think Ms. Shaffer and I had kind of been expecting movement at some point anyway. So when it comes to dealing with behavior, we'll just bring in Spanish Immersion and make them part of the PBIS program, and it should be seamless. And I mean, I think Mr. Brennan has the toughest part, dealing with coming over to the building and try to do evaluations and those types of things. I mean, so for Schaffner and I, dealing with behavior, I mean, that's not a big deal at all.
I will say that the Spanish Immersion students' behavior is exemplary. I'm going to Mr. Douglas probably really.
If it wasn't, it will be.
That's on you.
Well, with that, I would like to have our final presentation, Mr. McKenzie, to discuss pre-K.
So I am going to be very, very brief tonight, and Stan asked me to just kind of pull this part out and talk about it just a little bit more. So as you are well aware now, we're talking about moving the preschool program to Sherman Elementary as part of the big picture that you have heard tonight. And so the last couple of months I've been working with the school district leaders to find the most advantageous and efficient way to complete the transition. And so the last couple of months I have worked with architects and engineers, engineering firms and construction companies. We kind of went into Sherman and looked around and tried to listen to staff that had been there, and we looked at a couple of different places to go to move the preschool, and found, I think, a very advantageous spot. And so we have a conceptual plan, and there are many of the logistics that are nailed down, but we still have some final details to share with you. So I'm not going to put this up tonight, but the plan is to bring it back to you at your board meeting with all of the logistics showed, and we'll be able to explain it all to you, and then bring that forward to you for a vote. I do want you to know Dr. Bradley has just been tremendously open to the idea of moving the preschool. Mr. Burris, your Director of Pupil Services, and the department's preschool director have been very, very helpful and have worked hard to make this move positive. So we just really tonight wanted you to be sure that the preschool relocation program is part of the greater master plan, and that the entire plan will then be brought back to you at your next board meeting.
Thank you. All right, thank you. Again, I'm sure all of us feel that this has been, in the plans, and again, to thank all of you for all your hard work. I think I'm most excited about the preschool. I just think if we can get those little ones younger, that then we can bring them along in our district and raise those scores. So again, thank you to everyone for everything that you've done. So, okay, our next item on the agenda is our resolution to adjourn into executive session. I need a motion. We will go into executive session for the purpose of to consider the employment, dismissal, discipline of a public employee or an official. Do I have a motion, please?
So moved.
Thank you. Do I have a second? I'll second. Thank you. Ms. Cartwright, could you take the vote?
Mr. Ellsworth?
Yes.
Ms. Klein?
Yes.
Mr. Bacon?
Yes.
Mrs. Golden?
Yes.
Mrs. Weber?
Yes. We are going to executive session. It is 6:14. We will not be voting on anything when we return. So, thank you, everyone, for coming this evening.